What's good, YouTube? It's your girl Jess. You know I'm here to talk about another subject that nobody talks about in this goddamn community. And we're gonna switch it up. I had to have no shirt on for this because we talking about body image. We're gonna talk about the importance of it. We're gonna talk about my experience, and we're gonna talk about the research that I did of other masculine lesbians and their stories. How I got here is a long ass journey of basically using the gym and fitness and other things mentally to get me to a place of confidence and stability, not only just as masculine presenting, but also just naked, like looking at myself in the mirror and seeing that I really like what I see. I'm about 10 years in with my fitness journey. It's taken me a long time to get comfortable with my body, to not only show people what I've done, but to also show myself what I was capable of doing. Because quick fixes like surgery and things like that are cool, especially for people who struggle for a long time and can't find other solutions. But it shows you like how strong you can really be mentally, physically, how much you're capable of doing. It just shows you how powerful you are, hence reinforcing the confidence in yourself. Now, I'm gonna be honest, I really like what I see nowadays, but I still have a long ways to go. I don't really feel 100%, and I don't think I ever will. My problems right now are just fixing my posture. I analyze myself to get to a very, very good place, to a point where no matter what pictures I see, no matter what angles I catch of myself in the mirror, nothing will really faze me. Like, nothing is too dramatic or nothing is too intense. It's just like, you're good, bro. Like, it's not that serious. I know a lot of masculine lesbians, and I just feel like I can tell that, one, this is not a subject nobody talks about, but two, within those questions that I've asked, there's a lot of things about different subjects about body image that kind of influence certain aspects of our lives. I got almost 700 people participating in this poll. So the first question I asked is, are you comfortable being naked by yourself? 69% said yes, and 31% said no. 185 people are not comfortable being naked by themselves. For me, I'm honestly not that comfortable myself, just because of the fact that I have eczema and it's irritating my skin, just having it exposed like that. But if I didn't have that problem, I'd probably be naked all the time. I really like being shirtless, even without a bra. And I think what that comes from mainly is knowing that I did all those reps, knowing I did all that work for my body to look this way. And it's like, I look at myself and I'm like, I did that. And I think that's how all of us should feel. To the 185 that said no, I hope you get there. I hope that you are able to talk about this with people. I hope you're doing things that help you get to a point where you're there. And even if you're not in shape and you want to feel good about yourself, there's so many ways to do that mentally and physically, and just changing your perception on what is attractive, changing your perception of what you see on yourself based on what people have said about you or things that you've told yourself negatively. It's all about changing the language in your brain and changing the vision of what you perceive as beautiful or handsome or any of those things. You're the only vessel you got. If you don't embrace this fully naked bare, you're always gonna be kind of sheltered in. People are gonna feel that energy. From now on, I want y'all to make that a priority and try to get to that goal at some point in your life. Everybody should experience that. I mean, I'm really glad that like over 400 of you said yes, and that's actually really surprising to me. But I do want those numbers that said no to kind of disappear and decrease. I want a lot of us to just feel like, yeah, you know what? I'm naked and I'm free. The second question was, have you ever been uncomfortable with your bare chest, stomach, or legs? 77% said yes, and 23% said no. Those numbers on that are 458 people said yes. And I said those body parts because I've noticed a pattern from personal training, from talking to people, that those certain body parts are just harder for people to kind of embrace. Not only from societal standards that, you know, a bigger torso, smaller waist, and smaller legs are kind of embraced in a masculine presenting way. I know stomach for a lot of us is a huge one because women pack on that stomach area fat a lot more than men for, you know, fertility reasons. And man, I'm not gonna lie, I hate it too. I think having a broader upper body and a broader lower body with like nice strong legs, it kind of helps that stomach area look smaller. Honestly, I feel like it's unhealthy how much we obsess over that image. I think overall the fact that we don't take masculine lesbians seriously if they don't look like that, or we expect them to get to that point, or a lot of us strive to get to that point and don't feel confident enough until we get there, all those things are a problem. We need to kind of reinvent those and get people to take us seriously no matter what we look like, and not to have any type of insecurity about any body part because of the standards of pretty much from men, you know, their body image, because we're not men. The more that we embrace and understand that we're women too, we just have a more masculine presenting look, I think the more that these insecurities about these certain body parts will kind of dissipate. Some of us got stomach fat. Some girls like that shit. And it needs to be embraced more in a masculine way rather than just the feminine way, because I see a lot of feminine women getting praised for embracing their stomach fat or their cellulite, and we should be feeling the same way too. I got cellulite, shit, you know what I'm saying? We all need to embrace it. We're all women. Moving on. Have you ever felt pressured by society to look a certain way? I already knew this was going to be a big yes. 474 said yes, 114 said no. That's 81% to 19. I just think seeing those numbers in my face is just so incredibly powerful, knowing that I'm not the only one that's gone through this, knowing that what I've perceived is not an illusion, and knowing that this is a problem. Like, we really need to keep talking about this and making sure that we're all checking in on each other to kind of dissipate this pressure that a lot of us get from the outside world. And that just goes back to the beginning of what I was saying about what we perceive as attractive. We need to transform it into more realistic expectations of what is really going on. We're women. Just because we're masculine presenting doesn't mean we're less of a woman. I really like this question that I asked. I think it's really important that we understand this. I said, are clothes important to your identity? 85% said yes and 15% said no. That's one of the best things I like about being gay, honestly, because straight people don't really get to do that. But I think what I was also trying to say with this question is that 507 people depend on clothes or feel that it's so important for you to utilize clothes to express your identity. And I think that's a conversation we need to have, because we could talk about the fact that clothes are just clothes. There are a lot of lesbians that I know that I don't feel need clothes to represent who they are. I don't really feel like I do, but I think it's more supplemental. And I think that's what I'm trying to highlight in this question, because I'm not gonna lie, I know a lot of us hide behind clothes because we're insecure with our own body. And instead they're just relying on it so heavy, where when you're naked, where does that confidence go? And then that transfers into the next question I asked, which is, are you 100% comfortable having sex completely naked? And I was really surprised by these numbers where it came out 59% said yes and 41% said no. It was almost half. My one homie commented on this personally and was like, man, listen, if I'm slanging the dick, I don't want my titties like hanging out all over the girl's face, you know what I'm saying? I don't want them jiggling around. That's completely valid, I get that. But there's a lot of conversations that need to be had here, because feminine women are pretty much expected to be completely naked. And when it comes down to that, I feel like a lot of them prefer their partner to be naked too, because sometimes it feels unfair or it just doesn't feel right. Personally, I like to be 100% naked if I can. And honestly, it gets sweaty and uncomfortable, and skin on skin feels very personal, it feels very intimate, and especially if I have a good connection with the person, I just want that connection to be 100%. But that's subjective. I know a lot of masculine lesbians that don't take their bra off or don't take their drawers off when they're having sex. There's also the touch me not studs that just like don't have any type of touching going on down there, and they just keep their drawers on. I'm not gonna lie though, I feel like a lot of feminine lesbians compromise in these situations because, you know, a lot of masculine lesbians just aren't comfortable with it, and they just gotta be okay with the fact that they're not gonna take their clothes off like that. I just wanna have an open conversation and get you guys to realize that 59% of people are not comfortable being completely naked. And I think in a straight world, that's kind of crazy to hear, or for a lot of people, that's probably crazy to hear. And that goes back to the body image we were talking about. I don't think it's just the preference of like security here or not wanting to be touched down here, but it's also what we see and what we want our partner to see and our insecurities. I just don't want to ever be in a situation where I don't feel comfortable enough to take off of my clothes in front of somebody, especially if I'm comfortable with them or if they want that, because I think the more free that you are, the better sex will be. The last question I asked is, do you like what you see in the mirror, pictures, etc.? This one was crazy. 50% said yes and 50% said no, right down the middle. And a lot of people had to personally DM me about this one and be like, listen, I mean, it depends on the setting, it depends on what I'm looking at. And I'm the same way, man. The overall subject in question is really just, what are we comfortable with? Why are we so uncomfortable with ourselves? Why are we not talking about this with each other? Why are we not uplifting each other more? Why are we taking societal standards into consideration? And how important is this to our mental health? How much is this affecting our mental health? And the more that we discuss this subject in a more naked and bare way with each other, I think the more that this insecurity within a lot of us will kind of dissipate. The more that I just talk about this right now, the better I feel. And I think the more that you guys kind of help me out in the comments and share this and talk about this with me, the better I will feel as well, and a lot of us will feel as well. You're not alone when it comes to how you feel about yourself, your body image, your insecurities, because honestly I feel like all of us have gone through it at some point in our lives. Just understand that clothes need to be supplemental. Your body is your vessel, you need to take care of it, and you should strive to get to a point where you're comfortable with yourself naked in front of yourself, and just learning to change your perspective on a lot of things about body image. And that'll transfer into your love life, that'll transfer into your professional life, that'll transfer into your family life, and just into your persona overall. You know what it is, man. It's your big gay sister Jess. Let's flex on one time. Let's love ourselves one time. Tell me your experiences in the comments below. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. I love y'all. Peace.